Wir sind bei Warner für Batman Arkham Origins und neben mir steht der Creative Director. Last time we saw each other was on E3. And what's new at Gamescom? What did you bring as new reveals?
Oh, we're showing a bunch of new things here. We're showing Firefly, our new assassin. We're showing the location he's taken over, which is the Gotham Pioneers Bridge. He's planted a bunch of explosives across the bridge. The police have formed a perimeter around it, and Batman's penetrated that perimeter and is coming in to try and take Firefly down. As part of that, we're also showing one of the gadgets that Batman has at this part of the story, which is the shock gloves. Now, these are new gloves that Batman's built into his suit, which can build up energy as he's fighting enemies. And he's built up enough energy in that fight, he can unleash the shock gloves, which lets him do things like punch through shields. He can do counters on uncounterable attacks, such as when shields are bashing him or people are using shock batons on him. In fact, when they use the shock batons, you can even use it to recharge the gloves. So it really gives you this amazing ability to overpower your enemies. Maybe when your back's to the wall, you can really turn the tide with this thing. And there's also just a huge library of new attacks he gets with the gloves. It's pretty cool.
Okay, you keep whipping out new gadgets, which we don't see in the other games, which are supposed to be later.
Well, Batman has a rotating library of gadgets. You know that, right? Just like James Bond. If you saw a James Bond movie and then 3 movies later you were expecting him to have the same gadgets as before, it's not really totally fair. He doesn't have everything with him, right?
Okay, so it's like, Alfred, I don't need these for the next time.
Yeah, well, Batman, he often has gadgets he needs for the enemies that he's facing, and he'll always have the static stuff. He'll usually have the smoke capsules, he'll have the batarangs, he'll have the bat claw, but he shifts things around based on what he needs. He can't carry everything in his utility belt.
Firefly is a new villain, that's pretty cool, but I always wonder with DC villains, where do you draw the line? Do you take a Catman or some of the more trashier or campier characters, or how do you transform them to make them cool?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think there are many DC characters, and they're all kind of, I guess, portrayed in different ways in different books. If you look at a character that we revealed at Comic-Con, for example, Copperhead, that's a character that I think has been dormant for a little while, not a character that's been especially popular or well known. But there's something very interesting about that character being a sneaky contortionist, that when you look at that through the Arkham lens, you get a character that's very realistic. You get a character that's kind of scary, intimidating, and a character that's compelling as a result. If you look at him in the comic books, that's a guy, first of all, and he's in a very bright orange snake suit with a prehensile tail and giant fangs sitting on top of his costume. He's a little bit dated, I think, that design. So when we were challenged at first by our exec producer, Ames Kirshen, to see if we could include Copperhead, there was a number of things that interested us. One was the contortionist angle, that the character's sneaky, that the character's got this unique fighting style where they wrap themselves around their prey and try to crush them. And we looked at different design possibilities for that, and we were most excited about bringing a girl to that role because we thought it would be fresh, we thought it would really mix up the lineup, and we thought that the whole wrapping around characters was a little bit more twisted if it was a girl, a little bit more, I guess, it's a striking visual. So I think the best way for us to do it is to say we can take what's interesting about a character at the core, and then if we view it through the Arkham lens, which is a little bit more grounded, a little bit more realistic, certainly with very contemporary production design on the costumes, you get characters which are pretty cool. And I think Firefly, as we've realised them in Arkham Origins, is a version I'm really proud of, and I think people will really enjoy.
What's the thing about villainesses? All the DC villainesses there are so alluring, and most of them are very dexterous.
It's a very general question, I suppose. I can answer with regard to Copperhead. I mean, Copperhead is really in our lineup. We have a number of characters. We haven't revealed all of them yet. But in our lineup, she really plays the role of the bad girl. She's the girl that your mother warned you about, and is someone that's kind of a little bit, I mean, she's literally dirty. She's covered in dirt because she's been crawling around in these crawl spaces. She's kind of scary, kind of nasty. But you're right, she also has a visual allure. But yeah, she plays the bad girl role in our game.
And you described her fighting style, a unique fighting style. How do you go about creating these fighting styles? Do you consult with experts?
Absolutely. We have a bunch of specialists. We do a whole bunch of research into things. I think one of the things that really popped for people when we introduced Copperhead at San Diego Comic-Con was we did explain that we used motion capture specialists for her. One of the actresses for her, I believe, was a member of the Cirque du Soleil, so a very, very skilled, very flexible person. We had a number of specialists. I think we had a stunt woman, a martial artist, and a contortionist all in playing different parts of that character. So, I mean, really, we challenged ourselves to create something that was compelling and spooky and looked unique, And I think given the response that we got from a character that isn't particularly well known before we kind of brought her back, tells us that we're onto something there.
Okay. What's your timetable now? What are we working on right now? Can we expect next?
Well, there'll be a few more reveals up to our launch, which is in October 25th. But we're locking down the game right now. We're bug fixing, and we're starting to think about what we're doing for DLC.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.